Now let's bring in the head of Grange School, Abra Stoakley, who joins me live via Zoom to talk more on educating the girl child. Some 15 years ago, the National Gender Policy was formulated to promote what they call the 35% affirmative action, a policy that demands 35% participation of women in all government processes. Now talk to us about the importance of empowerment, for instance, educating the girl child, how that places women a lot better and more favorable than what we now understand to be a quota system.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. I think education has long been seen as an agent for social change, but I think that's even more important for girls and young women. If a girl leaves school illiterate and innumerate, she has very few choices. You're basically consigning her to a life of dependency, as some of the other speakers were saying, vulnerability to domestic abuse, child exploitation, etc. If you empower that child, if you educate that child, there are no limits to what she can achieve. And I think you also need to think about the societal impact of not educating girls. It has an economic impact. It makes girls very dependent on the state and on their families and their partners. So I think it's essential as a way to break that cycle of poverty, to educate children, to educate girls, to make sure that they have the opportunities perhaps their own mothers were not given.
And you have interacted with these young children, especially the girl child, for many years now in the education sector. Talk to us about what you have seen when you see these young girls, their passion for education, the opportunities ahead of them, and what do you consider to be the greatest challenge here in Nigeria?
Okay, so at Grange, we're very lucky to have a very motivated group of girls and young women who are very excited about their learning. What we don't do is limit their horizons. We don't limit their aspirations in any way. We never say, oh, that's a subject for boys. If you walk into a physics class, you have girls dominating the conversation, dominating the narrative. So we want to expand their horizons at Grange rather than limiting them. And I think that's really important because in terms of challenges, I think by the time girls get to school at 4, they've already been told a whole lot of no, you can't do that. That's not for girls. Girls don't play like that. And so it's really important for us as educators to sort of show that girls, there are no limitations to what you want to do. If you want to be an astronaut, that's absolutely fine. There are no gendered professions. But I think that the work needs to start a little bit earlier than even we do at school, because I think it's really important not to limit girls when they're growing up or to push them towards more sort of gendered play.
Absolutely.
I think boys are encouraged to take risks, fall off bikes, be a man, whereas girls are encouraged to be safe in the house and play with dolls. And I just think we need to move girls away from that so that their expectations of being a
woman. I get the point you're trying to make, Abra, the fact that there are no limitations for the girl child in Grange. But are you concerned about the contrast outside? So just some kilometers into the north, we're talking about perhaps the highest number of out-of-school girl children, and the implication of insecurity, and also the cultural limitation that they now have to face when they leave the confines of that fantastic education system that you've just painted.
Well, I think unfortunately here there are some real barriers to girls achieving all that they can achieve. Some of those are cultural. So there are some schools of thoughts in some areas that girls' education isn't important. It's not valued, which is why you have such a high dropout and less engagement from girls. And you can just see that in the literacy rates, that girls are significantly beneath boys in that area. I think it's crucial that we reach out to a lot of these communities, because it's not just about educating the girls themselves, it's about educating entire communities about the importance of educating their girls, and that girls' education has an inherent value, that they themselves as families will reap the benefit when they see their girls gain all the success that they're able to.
Head of Grange School, Abra Stoakley, thank you so much for talking to us on the news tonight.
Thank you.